Spain. July 11th, a doubleheader as Canada battles Portugal and Tonga faces Spain. Build the home field advantage for Team Canada. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today.
The perfect place to host your golf tournament or fundraiser, company event, celebration of life, wedding, birthday party, or private party. Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club. More than a golf course, a fun, welcoming place with beautiful views, relaxing patios, and a team that truly appreciates each and every guest. Featuring Out of Bounds, Cattail's 5-star kitchen. Some say it's the best clubhouse dining they've ever had. Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club. Book your tourney or event today at cattailcrossing.ca.
When it comes to sports in Edmonton,
Jason Gregor is a must listen. He brings you the inside scoop with guests from across North America.
if it matters in sports, you'll hear it here first.
Gregor rolls out weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports 1440.
Tired of the rough ride? Alberta used to be a leader in highway planning and construction, but years of neglect and cuts to maintenance are showing. You can see it, and your vehicle is feeling it. Infrastructure can last for years with a little TLC, but when repairs are deferred, minor issues become major reconstruction. We need action and a reliable capital plan. Contact your MLA and demand stable infrastructure funding. Find out how at fixourroads.com.
A message from the Alberta Road Builders and Heavy Construction Association.
Nissan's through once again, and they've done it 12 years straight.
Nissan ropes the 2026 Best Buy winner from Consumer Guide Automotive for 12 years in a row. The Score with Nissan event is on, and qualifying Nissan owners can score by leasing a 2026 Rogue S for the equivalent of $99 weekly at 0% for 36 months with $0 down. Visit Nissan.ca for details. $430 monthly. Includes $1,100 Nissan bonus and 0.4% royalty rate reduction. Conditions apply.
Visit your local Edmonton and area Nissan dealer for more information.
You haven't set your lineup yet,
Right?
It's Fantasy Frenzy
With Halley and Douglas.
on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
It's 11:01. Good morning. Thank you for joining us here on Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, the home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Only available in Leduc. Go check them out. Tell them we sent you. Or online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Of course, lots to discuss as the Edmonton Oilers officially announcing something I think we all knew. Mike Babcock will be the next head coach in franchise history. Obviously, his resume speaks for itself, good and bad. He will speak to the media in an hour. We will have that one for you here on Sports 1440. I don't know if Declan or Lotay know that yet, but we're putting our foots down. We're going to make sure we air that interview because I think everybody wants to hear what Mike Babcock has to say, what Stan Bowman has to say, and the questions they'll be asked. Because I don't think people are going to let them off the hook here. I don't think it's going to be layup questions, softballs, none of that sort of thing. I think there's a lot of hard-hitting questions that the Edmonton media wants to ask these guys, and they're going to do so. So you can hear it here on Sports 1440. Of course, you can stream iHeartRadio, tune in, Radio Player Canada, watch us on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch. I recommend Sports 1440 AM on YouTube because the chat is right there. And if you do go over there, make sure you hit the thumbs up, maybe subscribe if you haven't done so, and jump into the chat. Have some fun with Josh and company. Have I done the introductions yet? I'm Connor Halley. He's Brandon Douglas. Josh Fenwick here as well. Text line is 1-833-401-1440. Also, man, the World Cup I don't recall World Cup past where the superstars have been showing up for their teams. Of course, in their first game, we saw a Messi hat trick. We saw Mbappe and Haaland doing their thing. Yesterday, Lionel Messi, 2 goals. Could have had 3. Missed on penalty. No worries. They defeated Austria 2-0. Then you had France with a 2-hour rain delay in between. Had Mbappe scoring 2 goals. His first goal, brilliant. Left foot. Goalie got his hands on it, but it was too powerful. They beat Iraq 3-0. And then for Norway to go 2-0, I think a team that a lot of people have started to fall in love with their little, it's like the Viking clap, but it's rowing. Holland, 2 goals. Now, they get past Senegal, barely 3-2. But it was fantastic. Last night, Algeria storming back to beat Jordan 2-1. Duke, I know you and some other people cashing in on these anytime goal scorers, but this event where the star power has been there and they're backing it up. I mean, Mo Salah, a goal, got a helper.
Harry Kane's been excellent.
Harry Kane. We're just waiting on Cristiano Ronaldo.
I was just about to say, Connor, there's one very notable name absent from this list of star players that have really been balling out here at the World Cup so far, and that is Cristiano Ronaldo, who is back at it as we speak with the Portugal club right now.
Taking on Uzbekistan. So this should be a game where he can pot one. If not, maybe we panic.
Well, panic may have already said it because everyone else is holding up their end of the bargain in what has been just a really great World Cup. And I get it. Like every year, no matter where it is held, that we see people flock there from around the world and the fans, the crowds are incredible. But let's just call a spade a spade. The last one was in Qatar. Mm-hmm. And both in terms of their own country's laws and some things that like they aren't serving alcohol in the stadiums. It is in a little bit of a remote part of the world in terms of, the Middle East, the desert. The temperatures are insane. They have to host it essentially at Christmas time instead of here in the middle of the summer. And I don't know if it's because of how spread out it is across North America. And we're like seeing the fan bases actually travel inside their travels, right? The Tartan Army start up in Boston. They load up and now head down to Miami where they're going crazy. There's just something that's really hitting home for me about this World Cup beyond Canada's success. And it's, still very early going on that front as they'll wrap up their group play tomorrow afternoon. But the fact that it's in our time zone, it's on while I'm here in the studio. I've been watching so many matches and getting into it. And then you have it living up to the hype of the best players in the world playing like the best players in the world. I think this is catching up even more people in the sweep of it than even initially thought or perhaps even intended. It's been great to see, and I kind of can't wait. I know when we first started, I was being a little bit of a crotchety guy about it for how long it does last, and I'll maintain it maybe doesn't necessarily need to be this long. I think Ronaldo just scored.
Yeah, he'd be in classic Ronaldo fashion.
But I'm by the time this does wrap up in another 3 weeks or so, I'm still going to be kind of clinging on to near every match's results. So good on the tournament, good on the players above all else for delivering on their product.
Yeah, and I mean it's one of those things like Olympic hockey was so great. And then it was over. And not everyone, but I'm pretty sure there was a bit of a trickle down where like, okay, I want to watch Jack Hughes for an American fan who might not watch it. Maybe I'll tune in to see this Matthew Tkachuk guy. Or, hey, Canada has some good players too. Maybe I'll watch them. I think there will be some trickle down for soccer fans. MLS probably benefits from this. Little kids watching like, hey, I want to go watch Portland Timbers, whoever it might be. And then heck, Duke, maybe Saturday morning, you're up a little early, you turn on the TV. Oh, there's Liverpool. Maybe you become a fan.
Well, I'm a Villa guy.
Oh, yes. I forgot.
The villains.
So, it is really cool. And Cristiano Ronaldo does get on this score sheet. Nice cross in front. As we said, against Uzbekistan, this might be the time to do it. And the team's thrilled for him. You can tell a little weight off the shoulders. Now, let's have a look at the big news of the day. Mike Babcock, it is official. DJ Smith, formerly of the Ottawa Senators, named as an assistant, obviously stepped in for the Kings last year as well. Mike Babcock, he's been around the league for a long time, coached for a long time, played his playing days at McGill University, then coaching the Moose Jaw Warriors for 2 years, lost in the first round, didn't make the playoffs, went on to the University of Lethbridge, had a pretty good season, 34-11-3. That led into a job with the Spokane Chiefs, where he was there for 6 years. Didn't win a championship, but some success in the playoffs. Goes to an AHL gig with the Ducks organization, Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Spends 2 years in Cincinnati, then gets the call from the big club. His first year with Anaheim, 40, 27, and 9. They lost in the finals. The following year, they don't make the playoffs. Then he's brought into Detroit, loses in the first round, loses in the third round, and then wins a Stanley Cup. His lone Stanley Cup. After that, he loses in the finals, losing the second round, first, second, first. Moves on to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Doesn't make the playoffs, but in year 2, improvement. Goes from 29 and 42 to and 11 up to 40 wins. They don't win in the first round. The next season, 49 wins. Very good season. Lose in the first round. Following season, 46 wins. Lose in the first round. So he hasn't won a playoff series since 2012, 2013. There's been the problems that we've heard. But the Edmonton Oilers obviously saw something from it, and they're going to give it a go. They're going to see what happens. The facts are, this guy has been a good coach in the past. He's won a Stanley Cup. He was selected twice to coach the Olympic team, and he won 2 gold medals. I will hear people say that, yeah, it's a Canadian Olympic team. It's easy. Sure. But you weren't picking a scrub. They weren't picking the worst coach in hockey to coach that team. So at one point, Mike Babcock was looked at as the top coach in hockey. It's been a while. There's been some turbulence since then. But now the Edmonton Oilers obviously have seen something, whether it is just the leadership group and more beyond. We're going to see how it all plays out. And it's going to be a very interesting press conference in about 50 minutes here. And I'm looking forward to it, Duke. Now, hypothetically, you got a question. You and I are, small potatoes. We'll be back at the studio watching like everyone else.
Like a couple of schlubs.
But if you were asking a question, Duke, and I want to ask you, the listener, if you were asking a question to Babcock or Stan Bowman, what would it be?
Ooh, now that in itself is a good question, Connor. I think it's funny. He's going to be asked to coach the hockey team.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe there will be and should be questions about his actual execution of running the hockey team. But I think those will probably come after a lot of questions about his personal choices, decisions, strategies taken with past jobs. So if I were to try to maybe pick a lane there, if I were afforded the ability to ask a question, where would I go? I don't know. If I was going first, I would probably just start with, like, you're back in this role for the first time since your departure from Columbus, and maybe it's cliche, maybe he's got a canned answer ready, but what has changed about you? What has changed about your approach to how you want to do this job since then? Because we know your approach that time around was not a good one. It clearly crossed some lines, some of which we maybe still won't ever fully know about. But the ones we do know, didn't commit a crime, didn't do anything like that. But it's a pretty obvious violation of privacy. So with all that being said, try and trim it down and put it pretty frankly to him. Just say, how have you changed in your approach to being a head coach of an NHL team since you left Columbus?
Good question.
What about you?
I mean, like, if I had to go first, I think my first question would be, what is your message to the fan base that is skeptical of your track record? If I was going first, just to see, does he own it? Does he take it all in? I got to earn your trust, things like that. Does he sound, real? Is this real talk or is this just canned answer? If I was asking later on, I would say, like, X's and O's. What's wrong with this Oilers team and how do you fix it?
Yeah, that's a great one. And kind of, to pony off that, they said maybe what's going to be the next wave of questions that we expect him to face, where it is a little bit more about the team itself. And I'd maybe focus in on, like, you obviously were approached about this job. Maybe you do a little bit of your own research into it. What deficiencies do you see? And is the personnel here to fix them? In your eyes, having maybe known a few of these players from the past, obviously. We know Zach Hyman played under him. Kasperi Kapanen, who's a UFA, is going to test the market, according to Greg's. Chances, I would think, of still returning to Edmonton. Like, is the personnel to fix what he sees wrong with them here? Or are there changes that need to be made to the roster, in his opinion.
Mhm.
Now, a head coach, this is the NHL. It's not always the case as maybe we see more at the NFL level, where a head coach works pretty closely hand in hand with GMs in terms of the players, type of players, personnel that they're afforded to craft. The NHL, usually the GM gives you the ingredients, the head coach is then tasked with putting together the recipe. There are exceptions. And you wonder if a guy like Babcock with his resume and experience is afforded that luxury of having a little bit more hands-on involvement alongside Stan Bowman to mold this team throughout the rest of the offseason and summer. Because there's going to be changes to it. We already know that with the expected trade of Darnell Nurse, and at least we would think a few of these pending UFAs not returning to the team. Now, a couple key cogs have already been added back, and they were added back with the understanding that he's going to be the coach. So, once again, long way around of saying, but just to kind of pony up, if you're thinking about deficiencies with the team, does he think that the pieces are already in place to clear up some of those deficiencies? Or do you got to go outside and bring in some fresh faces?
I think it is a pretty good sign for the Oilers that Connor Murphy, Jason Dickinson, I think guys who are respected around the league, from what we've seen, seem like very good guys, were willing to re-sign here. Like, didn't even have to hit unrestricted free agency, or like, no, you know what? We believe
didn't
in
even
it.
test the waters.
We believe in it. We're going to stick around. I think that's an encouraging sign. Kasperi Kapanen's another interesting one, though, because he did spend time in Toronto with Babcock. He was there. He did have a 20-goal season, 13 goals the following season. That was when Babcock was relieved of his duties out in Toronto. So he's got history, and he had a couple pretty good seasons there with him. I mean, he was 22, 23, a very young player. From the reports, those are the players that Babcock was tougher on. And, so does that impact anything? If he re-signs, then I would say that's another encouraging sign in Babcock's corner. Like, okay, another guy who was there with him in Toronto, this didn't deter him. So we'll wait and see what happens with Kapanen. I also think Kapanen, it'd be silly for him not to go out there and test the market. 29 years old, coming off a pretty good year, a good playoff run. See what's out there. But if he ultimately does decide to return to the Oilers, I think that would be a sign that obviously he's got no issue with him. As a former player, I think that would mean something. Just a couple of texts asking Jesse, and I think this plays to you, Connor. Yeah, we're going to be running it. It's the press conference. So just keep it locked here on Sports 1440. Once we hit that last commercial break, we'll come back. Low Tide will be on the air, and then he will throw it over to the presser because, yeah, of course, we want you guys to hear it. Sean said, my question would be, if McDavid were to call up one of your old star players like Zetterberg, Lidstrom, Matthews, what would they say about you? Probably good things.
It's a good question.
By all accounts, Sean.
But it is kind of interesting because in reality, McDavid has that ability. And if at this point, it might be moot because he's hired.
Yeah.
Has he done that in the past? And also, if he... Now, are you going to get a response like this out of someone like Austin Matthews who's still actively playing? I doubt it. But if Babcock says, all right, well, they would say X about me or Y or Z. Well, all of a sudden that opens the door to those players that are named. And listen, Henrik Zetterberg, Nick Lidstrom, these aren't guys that are active. I believe they do some work for, I don't know if they work for teams or the national team or if they're just enjoying retirement. They're not in the public eye like some other retired players are. They're not doing media or anything. So would it be likely that they would step out and say, that's a bold-faced lie? I would never say that about Mike Babcock. Now, I doubt it. So it might be a better question if Connor McDavid called so-and-so player that played on the third line of that one of those Maple Leafs teams or something. What would they say? He might be a little bit more cautious about how he answers it because they're good. There's a little bit more chance for blowback on something like that, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, by all accounts, anyone that spoke about Babcock and been critical have always said he's great to his star players. So asking those guys, they'll be like, oh, yeah, he was awesome. There's more to it. Nick Lidstrom is the current vice president of hockey ops for the Red Wings.
I wasn't sure if it does Zetterberg work inside that organization too, or is he elsewhere?
I haven't found anything about him.
I didn't want to say it at risk of being totally wrong, but I thought that he was inside the org. I'm not saying I knew he was that high up necessarily, but hey, maybe the best defenseman of all time. It makes sense that teams would want him in their employ.
Well, whenever I think of him, I just think of Stretty like taking slap shots to try to clear the zone, and I'm just knocking him down.
Oh yeah,
with alleged ease.
Laddie, like he was Laddie's favorite D man. Ladd Schmid, our Thursday co-host on the Carrier Show, and he's like, that's the guy I wanted to be. He's like, I couldn't do anything as good as he did anything because he was so good at everything. Skating, the offensive instincts, he was never going to crush somebody, but he wasn't afraid to be physical, so good with his stick. Yeah, just an insane talent. I mean, goodness, I don't need to tell anybody that. His trophy case can speak for itself.
IMAX says, have you guys had any bad coaching experience? What was the worst? Not really. I mean,
Connor was the bad coach when he's getting into fights with opposing parents at St. Albert Soccer Club.
Well, no, that was the other coach. Jeez Louise. And, Texter's backed me up on that with that history. No, not really. I mean, I once had an indoor soccer tryout for soccer when I was playing at CHEP and scored a goal. And I went to the bench and the coach said, hey, who scored that? I was like, me? And then I was promptly told, the team's picked already. You're not going to make it. So that was
get out of here, loser.
That was like, okay, all right. Won't come to the next tryout then.
Mm-hmm.
No, not really. I had good football coaches. I had I'm going to shout out Hugh Hopkins. Great coach. One of the best guys I've known. So no, I've nothing for me personally, nothing but good coaches. How about you, Duke?
Yeah, I have no experiences to that extent. Like there are obviously coaches, and this is usually when I was younger. Like I didn't agree with everything they did or how they deployed the team or whatever. But listen, that's called growing up in minor hockey. I never had an experience with a coach that would come close to, crossing personal lines. Get yelled at, sure. But once again, I think that there is value in that type of coaching at times when you're a young person. You got to have some tough love. You got to have some softer hands. It's all about reading the situation. So I consider myself very fortunate that in all my years, now keep in mind, I grew up in a very small town where everybody knows everybody and you essentially get coached by the same people for the most part from the time you're 5 in whatever sport till you're 18. But I actually had a few different hockey coaches and including a couple guys that never had like kids on the team or anything. They were just members of the community and they coached the what would have been the midget hockey team at that time, U18 obviously. And really positive experiences with shout out my boy Jaybird, Jason Craig. Good guy.
Shout out Jaybird. I mean, I heard stories, of course. I once took over for a team. Got a call from a guy I used to work with, like, hey, my kid's team needs help. They'd like only practice once or twice the whole season. And then when they did practice, it was done in a backyard instead of a field. Granted, I was told it was a big backyard. But that's not really that bad. It's just maybe not as committed as you might like. Kind of fired the head coach, though, in like community sports. We'll take a break, though. When we come back, more of your text. The question we had asked, if you were at the presser today, what's the question you would ask? Mike Babcock or Stan Bowman? Let us know. 1-833-401-1440. It's Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Japa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
Beer League Slow Pitch. It's an Alberta summer tradition.
I got shortstop. I'll take pitcher.
Yeah, I'm just here for the dugout snacks. When you're playing on the field, you need serious fuel. And there's only one MVP.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
Load up on Alberta's best beef jerky and hit a home run with the team. It's the perfect snack for your summer sports.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Hi, I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. We've been tightening bolts and redefining our industry for 25 years. Yes, a quarter century, and we're just getting started. Check us out at cantork.com. Our tools age better than I do.
Listen up, friends. Operation Pizza is a go at Papa John's. They're introducing new personal pizzas just in time to celebrate the premiere of Toy Story 5. These adventure-sized pies come in new exciting flavors like Sheriff's Roundup, Space Rangeroni, and Reach for the Pie. Or take your personal pizza to infinity and beyond by creating your own flavor just for you. Order 2 or more with Papa Pairings and get yours for only $9.99 each. New personal pizzas are ready for takeoff. See Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 5 in theaters June 19th.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. This deal's only good till 6 o'clock tonight. We need your credit card to hold the color. Hold the color. Summer package. Winter package. And the ever-famous re-PDI fee. I gotta pay to rebuild the car? Does this sound familiar? At Northgate, we do things differently. We offer 0% financing, a great selection of new, pre-owned vehicles. So if you'd like to do business a different way, stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
He's a legend in the booth and a master on the mic.
Low Tide brings the banter weekdays from noon to 2.
Sports 1440 is where Edmonton talks sports. Get in the game. Text 833-401-1440.
Ready to upgrade your ride this spring? Come on down to the Golf Cart People. They're a family-owned and operated business that's been serving the community since '97. Whether you're looking for a brand new or quality pre-owned cart, a rental for a special event, they do that too. The Golf Cart People have a huge selection of parts and accessories, and their expert service team is here to keep you rolling. The Golf Cart People, your one-stop shop for everything golf cart. Visit golfcartpeople.com.
Wendy's 99-cent Frosty is back, and Frosty farmers couldn't be happier. Made with Canadian dairy, they grow up cool, creamy, and mighty thick. It's farm to Frosty. Get a small 99-cent Frosty until August 2nd at participating Wendy's. Taxes extra.
Get the inside scoop for your team
On Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
Welcome back. Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440. Also streaming on YouTube. Man, we got a lot of people watching on YouTube. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so as well. The show brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, the home of Alberta's best beef jerky, online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick with you here. Of course, this segment is for Elks Nation. Check out the new website, elksnation.ca. Articles, podcasts, and more. Breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth W football coverage online, elksnation.ca. Check the newest edition of, what is the official name on Mondays for Eddie and Declan?
Elks 101.
Elks 101. Breaking down the big win over Montreal. You know, you go back and you see the highlights, and I'm sure we've all seen Rankin bust the big run. But that one on third down, huge impact on the game. He gets stopped there. Momentum goes to Montreal. But just keep feeding him the football. They'll practice today, little walkthrough tomorrow, and then head to Winnipeg for a quick game against the Bombers on Thursday. Shorter week for the Elks, and the Bombers coming off a bye week. Not ideal, but hey, that's football, baby. I'll be ready for it. Text line's 1-833-401-1440. Just looking at the YouTube chat here, McDavie says, I can't imagine Babcock will say much different than when he got the job in Columbus. We are just hoping to see how it all works out. Hopefully we take steps forward with him. Yeah, I mean, I hope so. Just, I don't see how you could go through all that he's been through in the last little while and not grow from it. If not, it's just an incredible case study for the future.
But, and Speck brought this, I think it was Speck, this morning when he was talking with Kevin about it. Like, he's, 63 years old?
Mm-hmm. Or is he? Yeah.
Listen, I'm not trying to cast a net over humankind in general. But do a lot of people change a ton at 60 years old?
I don't know. I really don't know. I hope so. I hope you never stop growing, evolving, learning.
But it kind of just takes me back to where a lot of my skepticism lies, is that it's not a second chance. It's at best a third chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about this before, but like when he got hired in Columbus, we knew about the stuff in Toronto. And he said to McDavid's point, because he talked about this with Kevin earlier on the text line, the quotes from his CBJ presser saying like, yeah, I took this time away and I didn't like what some of the things I did and he said the things that we would expect or want someone to say in his position. But words are one thing, actions are another. And I am open to seeing if his actions can live up to what we're going to hear him say today. But I will be viewing it with a pretty heavy dose of skepticism. Because we've heard it before and we didn't see it.
I will say my old junior high teacher, Mr. Doc, used to say, show me, don't tell me. And that's going to be...
walk it like you talk it.
Like, we got to see it happen first. And until that happens, for sure, there's going to be a lot of skepticism, and you won't be alone. Democracy texting in 1-833-401-1440. Uzbekistan just scored a heck of a goal.
The Uzbeks.
A screamer from outside the 18. I definitely don't like the scrappy stuff he's done with the players in the past. But screw it. I'm on board. Hopefully it works. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the situation.
Well, if
right
you're
now.
an Oilers fan, what other choice do you have right now? Like, he's
Exactly.
the coach. This is no longer a hypothetical. It's no longer a possibility. It's reality. And I think even that I can't remember who it was. They were texting in this morning, Connor, saying, why is everyone talking like Babcock's already been hired? But I haven't seen anything official from Sportsnet or TSN or, any of these reputable places to get news, which we always recommend people do. Don't just read any Facebook article.
Mm-hmm.
To which we kind of replied and said, well, yeah, but like it's going to be announced today. He's like, I don't know. I remember there was a lot of talk about Ryan Smith signing an extension, and then all of a sudden we're told he's traded to the Islanders. Okay, well, you clearly have a little bit of PTSD from that incident and a little bit of like clinging on to hope that this would not, in fact, come to fruition. But it is. So if you're a fan of the team, and there are some that are kind of wavering on that a little bit because they dislike this decision so much, we'll see where they're at once the season gets underway. There's no more teetering and tottering. It's happening. We're going to hear from him in a half an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember the Smitty deal. E5, it's done. It was not done. Bobby just asking, busy at work, as the press conference happened. No, Bobby, it's going to happen at noon. We'll have it for you here on Sports 1440.
Connor, was there any part of you that was hoping the presser would be at 11 so we could just listen to it while we're in studio here?
Just sit back and relax. I mean, I kind of like talking with the people.
Of course I do, but I want to listen to it, and now I'm going to have to try and listen to it while I do all my post-show work, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. Maybe we'll throw it up on YouTube in the bar area. And everyone can watch it.
Yeah, that'll be a hit amongst the rest of the Stingray employees.
100%.
I'm sure.
We did ask the question, if you were at the presser, what would you be asking, whether it be Mike Babcock or Stan Bowman? Kyle says, you've been out of the game for 7 years. What makes you qualified to coach two of, if not the best players in the league, and how will you get them over the hump? That's a good question. And I think he might deflect a little bit, saying those guys are there. We have to be a team. We have to improve our defensive capabilities, et cetera, et cetera. So I think he might deflect on that one. What makes him qualified? It would be funny if he just had a Stanley Cup ring on.
That
get one of these
2 gold medals around his neck.
He's just randomly wearing 2 gold medals.
It's like I think I've shown an ability to coach the best players in the world, as exemplified by my work with Team Canada and the powerhouse Detroit Red Wings. And I'm not trying to knock that question that got sent in. Like I said, been out of the game for 7 years, so there's validity to that without a doubt.
For sure,
the game has changed a ton in even the relatively short period of time that he has not been a coach in the NHL.
I think he can deflect.
Let alone the amount of time that has passed since he had some real tangible postseason success as a head coach in the NHL.
Yeah, and I think he can deflect on the 2 stars, and he can talk about how he coached Austin Matthews and Zetterberg and Lidstrom, and he has that to fall back on. But the 7 years part being out of the game, Yeah, that's totally fair. X-Ray Gog says, my question would be, why didn't you insist to the Oilers that this media availability started between 11 and 12 so it could be featured on Fantasy Frenzy?
We didn't want to rob the people.
Yeah. Well, Low Tide always talks how he doesn't get breaking news and stuff. So.
That goes back to the 1260 days. Like I remember hearing that all the time before him and JMO did their show together, and it was 2 separate 2-hour shows. It'd always be like Low Tide as soon as he's like, oh, I'm just off the air and had to basically tread water for 2 hours because it's the middle of July and nothing's happening. And then as soon as it hits 12 o'clock noon and the Dave Jamieson show starts, breaking news from insert any big time source here.
Yeah.
Particularly the Oilers.
It was great. Walt saying, wondering if this changes anything on Darnell Nurse requesting a trade.Maybe Babcock sees a future in a role with him. Well, I don't know if Darnell officially requested a trade or has just agreed to waive his no trade clause. And the one thing I will say, whenever we heard about the leadership group talking to Mike Babcock, I didn't hear Darnell Nurse's name come up. You heard McDavid, Draisaitl, I think Hyman was mentioned, but I didn't hear Nurse. So maybe that was a sign they wanted to move on. We know they wanted him to waive it. He agreed to. I don't know if the request actually ever came through, but I don't think it'll change anything, Duke.
No, I don't either. And it's to me, like you said, it's a matter of formality, but what it's called is, did he officially request a trade? Yeah, well, by agreeing to waive your no movement clause, is that technically saying I want to trade, or is it just saying I'm ready to be traded or willing to be traded? Because I think some of that came from the Oilers saying, we want to move on from you. We want, while you have the opportunity to essentially choose your destination, can you give us however many options to work with here? That's my understanding of how that discussion went, as opposed to Darnell Nurse stomping into Stan Bowman's office, slamming his fist on the table and say, get me the heck out of here. I hear Babcock's coming. That is not what happened.
Yeah. It would be saying, okay, this year you kind of hold the cards. You can give us a few teams and we can try to get a deal done. Next year, that goes away to a certain extent. And we'll trade you to a team that maybe isn't of your choosing. It's not as high up on your priority list. So that's what I think. Kevin says, gents, my question would be this. Why should we trust you to run this team, to care for the players that we care about? I'd love to hear the answer. Colin says, Babcock, whatever. We need an elite goalie or it doesn't matter.
Well, and Connor, you and I kind of touched on this yesterday, right? When we say, if Babcock's the coach or anybody else is the coach, that's obviously qualified to any variety of extent. Does it change what your expectations are for this team this year? And I'm not sure it does.
No.
I do believe that certain coaches have an ability to adapt, improvise, utilize the players in front of them better than maybe others, and that can be based on anything but on experience, perspective. Run down the list. It's no different than really any other line of work. But when you're the Edmonton Oilers and you have Connor McDavid, you have Leon Draisaitl, you have Evan Bouchard, and that's just your top 3 guys, let alone the pretty good complement of players you have. Yes, you're currently lacking the number 1 goalie, at least based off performance metrics from last year. That's still a team that is absolutely going to be in the playoffs and absolutely should have a Stanley Cup in their sights. A lot of other good teams, they're all trying too. But when, like I said, 97, 29, and 2, you should be trying to win a Stanley Cup. Doesn't matter who the coach is.
One, I will say, I don't think you're going to get an elite goalie. I don't think there is one up for grabs.
I heard Connor Hellebuck's available.
Oh, hey, that would be awesome. I'm all on board. But the second part of my thought process there is Carter Hart elite? Is Freddie Anderson elite? Like, they played great, played good enough. But when you talk about elite goaltenders, I don't think those guys are falling in the name. Is Busty there? Yet to be seen.
Carter Hart is such an interesting one because when we knew he was coming back into the league, our text line was a buzz. Oilers need to be in on this. Another reclamation project, on and on. And we kind of came to learn that he did not have any interest in signing in a Canadian city. Understandably so. Explores those options elsewhere, lands in Vegas. They needed goaltending help very badly. Played okay. I think it's handed the reins to the starting role in the playoffs. And as he played well through the back half of round 1, 2, and the sweep of the Colorado Avalanche in the conference finals, our text line is lit up again. So dumb the Oilers weren't in on this. Those text messages seemed to quiet down a lot over the course of the Cup final.
Yeah.
Where he was not very good.
He was historically bad.
By a goals
In a
against
sense.
by a goals against metric,
Yeah.
yes, he's the first goalie to do what he did, and giving up that many goals in 4 or 5 straight games in the Cup final, and he played every minute.
And I bring it up to say that I don't think you necessarily need an elite goalie.
I'm right there with you. Now, having an elite goalie can absolutely improve your chances, but usually that comes at a cost. Obviously in terms of acquisition, but then in terms of what it's against your cap. Like, so let's just pretend Connor Hellebuck is in fact available out of Winnipeg, which, insiders are reporting that he is. They're listening. How do the Oilers acquire Connor Hellebuck? Tell me that. And how do they fit him into a salary cap and still field the rest of the team in a competitive nature? Like, it's about you have a limited pool of resources. The best teams allocate them the most effectively and efficiently. That's what we just saw Carolina do, right? Got a lot of bargain contracts. The Oilers have a couple. Most primarily their best player, the best player in the world. But that the fact it's a bargain still doesn't mean that it's a very large number, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like for the Oilers, improvement in goaltending is certainly an objective for next year. But I don't think that you're going to see the Oilers trot out a Vezina caliber goaltender on any given night or by season's end.
And I would agree.
And they don't need it. They need someone to give them good enough. Brought them to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, where Stu Skinner turned it on. Goaltending's voodoo.
900 consistently. Don't need 920.
95 miles per hour straight down the pipe, and maybe a good changeup.
Cristiano Ronaldo scored again. Just kicking the door.
I thought the Uzbeks scored.
Yeah.
Was it offside?
They deemed it a foul just before that created the opportunity. So Portugal getting all the help they need. But I tweeted, Ronaldo silencing the haters. I'm one of the haters, but it's good for him.
It's like, is it even a conversation anymore?
No, I don't think so. Just non-hockey news for a quick second here. The NFL has informed teams they will not be holding a supplemental draft. That means Texas Tech quarterback Brandon Sorsby not eligible for the NFL this season. They had a big statement. They just said that under the CBA, the league retains sole discretion to determine whether it is appropriate to conduct a supplemental draft in any given year. The league has not conducted such a draft for several years, and prior to your submission, the league had no plans to do so this year. So no other player had sought entry. Your petition filed 3 business days before the deadline without any supporting information or documentation, and only after abandoning your recent litigation efforts to avoid NCAA sanctions does not provide a basis for the league to alter those plans. These issues presented by your petition are too significant and too closely tied to the league's core integrity interests to permit meaningful review within the timeline presented. So for those following along, Sorsby committed a lot of bets. There was stories about whether he'd be able to play in the college football season. He decided to enter the NFL through the supplemental draft, which is kind of held like in this time frame where players who missed the NFL draft but then maybe are ineligible for the upcoming season can still get into it. The NFL said, you know what? Nah, you're the only guy eligible, and it came in 3 days before the deadline. Not going to happen. So that leaves him in a very interesting spot. I don't know if he'll be able to go back and try to get into college.
This is insane.
Maybe the CFL comes calling, and that actually might not be a bad idea to get pro experience if the CFL would be willing to take him on. But that is very, very interesting for the NFL fans out there. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, more of your texts. What would you ask Mike Babcock if you were at the presser today? Let us know. 1-833-401-1440. It's Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Wilhock Beef Jerky.
There are actually 3 seasons we experience in June. spring, summer, and construction season. And while roads may be narrowed and detours are everywhere, GS construction crews are on site every day doing the work because the city doesn't stop, and neither do we. As we build and upgrade infrastructure, life continues around us. That's why we never lose sight of what matters most, making sure everyone, including our team, returns home safely at the end of the day. For more on what we do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth, fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
He's a legend in the booth and a master on the mic. Low Tide brings the banter weekdays from noon to 2. Sports 1440 is where Edmonton talks sports. Get in the game. Text 833-401-1440.
Island Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped, top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Alberta, we're wild and tough and beautiful. We agree that good enough isn't good enough. And though everything that matters starts with a home and a family. At Lux, our family has been handcrafting windows and doors for this incredible place for over half a century. There's no place we'd rather be. Everything we are is windows and doors. A company born and bred and made in Alberta.
From casual rounds to tournaments to weddings, it all fits at Colonial Golf Club.
Excuse me, you mind if I play through? I'm in a bit of a rush.
No problem. Why are you wearing a tuxedo?
Oh yeah, I'm getting married today. Just thought I'd play a round of golf before I say I do. Oh, looks like they're starting.
Great course conditions, greens that are always fast and true, and only 5 minutes from Edmonton and Beaumont. Colonial Golf Club. For more details and to book, visit colonial.ca.
Who should start? Who needs to hit the bench? Find out with Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
11:45. Welcome back to Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick with you here. Brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, the home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at willhawkbeefjerky.com. Only available in Leduc. Go check them out. Text line just blowing up here. A lot of people sending in your texts, your questions, what you would be asking. Before we get to that, though, just want to let you know, coming up next, it is the Lowdown with Low Tide from noon till 2. We will have Babcock's press conference in its entirety. I spoke with Low Tide. He's like, we got to run it all right till the very end. So they'll be doing that. Also, Donovan Paulson should be by. I'm sure he'll have some hot takes here when it comes to this hiring. Of course, Declan, he rolled in here in his Jimmy Butler modified jersey. It's now Giannis Antetokounmpo made with duct tape, so he'll be fired up about
You would
that.
need a lot of duct tape to spell out Antetokounmpo.
Well, he just wrote it on, but the numbers are there. It's now number 34.
Did he spell it right?
Oh, I have to assume so. It's Declan probably can spell that off the top of his head.
I cannot. I've written it out a few times this morning for podcasts and tweets and stuff, and I've had to triple check every single time.
Always good to copy and paste.
I'm spelling it in like 4-letter segments.
Hold on. Josh is shaking his head. Can you spell it, Josh? If you had to, like right now, spelling bee style. Your word is Antetokounmpo.
Antetokounmpo.
That is correct.
That is correct. Brandon, your word is
Wasabi.
I was trying to think of another name that could be people struggle with at times.
Puljarvi. I don't think I can spell that either.
Puljarvi. Puljaarvi.
I thought there was more than that.
I know. I used to write that one down for a lot of podcasts because that was a topic for sure.
Yeah, that was always up for debate.
Following the Lowdown with Low Tide, it'll be the Jason Gregor show from 2 till 6. Obviously, we'll be playing some of the comments from Mike Babcock. We'll be joined by Dave McCarthy of Sirius XM, Gareth Reese of Rugby Canada, Cam Tate. We got Tyler ERM, Chuck Speck, Derek Van Diest, the stats of the day, and more. So it's going to be a very, very busy day here on Sports 1440. And then immediately following the Gregor show, we got Jays and Astros. Wait, that's at 2 o'clock.
It's an afternoon game.
Never mind. It's all Fox Sports Radio.
Which,
Bieber back.
If you're interested in a break from the Babcock talk, FSR will provide that.
Yeah.
We'll be talking probably a lot about this Sorsby situation. I would think the Giannis trade itself, which you just kind of touched on with Declan, the in-house Heat fan extraordinaire. Things are happening across and it's the NBA draft tonight too. So
yeah,
there's some uncertainty about kind of what order the names are going to go off the board.
Hot Salsa says Arbor Jacki. Wi-Fi. That would have been a good one for sure. Okay, so we had asked some questions that you might have for Babs going into this one. Trav says, I'd ask him, what positive impact will you have?
What do you do?
What do we see you do around here? Franchise says, I would ask what he plans to do to reduce 97 and 29's minutes. Well, we're just going to get big leads and take it easy on him. I'd be curious, like, the mindset with those two players. How do you avoid the temptation of panicking and putting them on the same line? Gord Oil says, how many players have come forward and complained about Babcock's antics? 10 maybe? Let's quadruple it and say 40. Very small percentage of the amount of players, and he's coached over 17 years. Find me a coach that has not pissed off 10% of his players. Well,
I don't know about that.
Gord Oil, yeah. Because, so he doesn't bother the top end players. So let's immediately cut out the top 6 and let's say the top 2 pairings. That leaves you with 8 of the players maybe that he picks on. And it seems like there's a target on the teams that we've seen in the past. It's been maybe the younger guys. So I don't know. We have had, how many coaches have had the repeated stories come out and essentially been blackballed from coaching? Like, who was the guy in Calgary, Duke?
Bill Peters.
His was really bad. Really bad. And he will never coach in the NHL again. I would think that'd be safe to assume. Babcock's not at that point. But there's also hard-nosed coaches that have come out and maybe they would be told they were hard-nosed, but they haven't had players like repeatedly rip on them.
And like, I just don't know if I love that is your validation of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it doesn't matter if it was one player out of 10,000 that he's coached. If you cross that line of trust that is supposed to exist, and I'm with you, you don't have to like your coach. Coach doesn't have to like you as a player. But there has to be a balance of at least respect, I would hope, in an ideal situation. And even that might be teetering. But you can't straight up mentally manipulate someone using your power dynamic that you hold over them. And that's what Babcock's track record shows. Now, once again, we're kind of going into this saying, starting with this press conference today, have you changed? Have you learned from these experiences? What are you going to do different moving forward? I'm not burying the guy before he gets in behind the bench, which is what happened in Columbus. He never coached a game. But I just think that example of saying, just because it's only 40 guys that and it's beyond just, quote, not liking him, right? That's not what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these guys, they probably do hold a little bit more resentment than others, maybe most vocally of which is Mike Commodore, who we've had on the station a number of different times to talk about Babcock and other things. So I just don't think that if you're looking for reasons to be more optimistic or validate the hiring, I think that's a pretty poor example.
Chipo Lipa says, I want this team to go through the season with both middle fingers in the air. Love the hire. Well, we'll see. I've said it before. I got the popcorn ready. I'm going to just see how this one goes out. I mean, and honestly, like, even the ones that aren't like crazy bullying, like the Johan Franzen one, we've heard the stories. It's kind of it wasn't painting him in a good light. But even just the Medano one, like it's not bullying, but it seems like kind of an abuse of power.
That's exactly what it is,
And
Connor.
it was back-to-back games, right? He was an older player, but in that situation, Duke, me as a head coach, I would say, Mike, buddy, you're starting this game, and you get ready to get comfy on the bench. We're going to give you a rest, but I want you to get to 1,500. That's an incredible career milestone, but you're not getting out there after that. Would that be crazy? Like, it's a meaningless game enough to say that you're going to scratch him. If let's just say it was a young Landon Ferraro. Is he like, oh, thanks, coach. Thanks for getting me in there at the expense of a guy who could have played game 1,500. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that young player or whoever it would be would say, no, I think Mike needs to get to 1,500. That's a really good number to retire on. But he chose not to. It's not an abuse. It's not attacking a player, but it's a little thing that it rubs me the wrong way to this day. And the justification of it to me doesn't make sense because you could have let him play. You could have let him take a couple shifts each period, couple laps, offensive zone only. But you chose not to. Those are the things for me.
And it was also like the situation apart from just the games played. Like they had 2 games left. He needed both. The health scratch. It was the second last game that he played him in the last game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and yeah, it's just the unnecessary nature of some of the things that he's done. I think is probably my biggest takeaway. And as I said, I'm approaching this with an open mind to see how he fares with the coach and can he improve the team and all those factors. Maybe he has changed, but I'm coming at it with a heavy dose of skepticism and hesitancy to just immediately buy in just because it's the shiny new toy. And that is my personal opinion, of which everyone is entitled to one.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, Jordan says he has his advocates. Yeah, of course. I mean, guys will probably owe their careers in Stanley Cup to him. But now we're just going to play the waiting game. He's going to speak to the media in just a few minutes here. So we'll take a break. When we come back, it'll be the Lowdown Flow Tide, and they'll have the conference. Mike Babcock speaking to the media. Right now, though, let's get to the Sports 1440 update with the Duke, brought to you by Cattail Crossing 9 and Dine. Every Friday after 4 p.m., $130 for the pair, 9 holes with a cart, and a $40 gift card to the Out of Bounds restaurant. Book now at cattailcrossing.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
In case you missed it, this morning, the Edmonton Oilers officially announcing Mike Babcock as the team's 19th head coach in franchise history. He's going to be introduced to the media coming up at the top of the hour at a press conference from Rogers Place. In adjoining news, the team also announcing that DJ Smith, former head coach of the Ottawa Senators and interim coach for the Kings of the back half of this past year, will be joining the staff. World Cup action already underway from Houston. Portugal leading Uzbekistan 3-0 at the half. England and Ghana coming up at 2 o'clock. At 5, Panama and Croatia square up in a must-win game from Toronto. And the nightcap, Colombia up against the DRC. Major Leagues of Baseball today has the Blue Jays continuing their set hosting the Houston Astros. Shane Bieber going to make his return to the Hill and debut of the 2026 campaign for Toronto. First pitch coming just after 2 o'clock. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is the Lowdown with Low Tide and a airing of the Mike Babcock introductory press conference. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440.